Welcome to this Elite Cambridge Exam Preparation Masterclass. Today, we are absolutely unlocking the architectural secrets to top-tier marks in the Cambridge AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 syllabus. We're strictly targeting the backbone of your entire business strategy, the advantages and disadvantages of different business entities. But listen to me closely. We aren't just looking at basic textbook theory today. We are deconstructing exactly what principal examiners are actively searching for in your exam papers. My name is your master coach, and as a former examiner, I know exactly where candidates bleed marks and exactly how to capture them. We are going to dissect complex questions, master your time allocation, deploy high-level critical thinking strategies, and actively analyze pure problem solving to get you that top grade. Let's maximize those marks and get straight to work.
Okay, let's dive into this high-stakes reality. A senior examiner recently noted that the difference between a B and an A star in accounting often comes down to how well you understand the advantages and disadvantages of different business entities. Why is that? Because these form the basis of those complex, high-tariff 9 to 15 mark questions. To conquer them, we need to understand command word anatomy. When an examiner uses the word analyze, they are asking you to break down the what and the why. But when they use evaluate, that is a completely different game. They want you to pass professional judgment on the so what. Similarly, if a question says explain, you are walking a straight logical line. But if it says to what extent, you are absolutely required to bring in a counterargument and weigh the limitations. It's not just memorizing that a sole trader has unlimited liability, it is about how deeply you evaluate the financial and strategic implications of those facts under exam pressure.
To get you operating at that A-star level, here is our rigorous structural blueprint for today's session. 1. The examiner's lens. 2. The 3 core cognitive domains. 3. The method mark strategy. 4. Avoiding top examiner traps. And 5. Mastering comparative analysis. Let's move right into section 1, the examiner's lens, and figure out the theoretical architecture you need to build. The foundation of a top-scoring answer rests on 3 non-negotiable pillars: precise definitions, establishing causal relationships, and integration with other syllabus areas. Think of it like building a fortress. Your definitions are the raw bricks. Causal relationships, meaning if a partnership expands its capital base, then its gearing ratio changes. That is your mortar. But that third pillar, integration, is your golden ticket. Principal examiner reports continually highlight that candidates who reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. If you are analyzing a private limited company, do not discuss it in a vacuum. Link its specific capital structure directly to its cash flow statements or liquidity ratios that you calculated earlier in the paper. Cross-pollinating your knowledge across the entire 9706 syllabus is the secret weapon to unlocking those absolute highest mark bands. That brings us to section 2, the 3 core cognitive domains. Now, this is where we need to look at how your brain actually processes the exam on the day. Examiners are testing you across 3 distinct cognitive domains, also known as assessment objectives: knowledge and understanding, analysis, and evaluation. To brilliantly illustrate how this works, let's bring up our digital study suite and observe a peer conversation between 2 scholars tackling a 15-mark entity question. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical. Alex excels at formulas and facts, but struggles with open-ended evaluation. Sam is a creative thinker, incredibly strong at building arguments, but struggles with structural precision and timing. They are looking at a prompt asking them to evaluate the transition from a partnership to a public limited company. Alex immediately jumps in and says, a public limited company can issue shares to the general public, and they publish their accounts. Boom, we have our knowledge marks. But Sam counters, wait, Alex, that's just the baseline knowledge. The prompt commands us to analyze how publishing those accounts impacts their competitive advantage in the specific market. Alex pushes for a purely factual layout, just listing pros and cons. Sam argues for a broader, conceptual perspective, saying they need to evaluate if the cost of losing privacy is worth the capital gained. And Sam is right about the domain. But Alex correctly points out that without the factual bedrock, Sam's evaluation floats away. You absolutely must demonstrate competence across all 3 domains in sequence. If you only provide textbook definitions like Alex initially wanted, you are leaving the vast majority of the tariff on the table. Moving to section 3, let's talk about the exact procedural framework you need: the method mark strategy. But before we watch Alex and Sam execute these 6 steps and inevitably hit a massive structural roadblock, I need to pause this session for a quick, vital reminder. If you want to consistently crush your Cambridge exams, you need elite strategies every single week. Take 1 second right now to subscribe to the channel Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A Levels at the handle at acetheexam_IGCSE. Enable all notifications, hit that bell icon so you never miss a breakthrough strategy. Okay, let's get back to the digital suite.
When you are sweating under the ticking clock, you need this strictly chronological methodology. Step 1, deconstruct the question. Step 2, extract relevant data. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Step 4, execute with notation. Step 5, verify. Step 6, present with correct terminology. Now let's watch Alex and Sam draft their model response paragraph by paragraph on screen. They nail step 1 and 2, but as they hit step 4, executing the analysis, they freeze. They hit a major roadblock regarding timing and linking their paragraphs. Alex writes an isolated paragraph about liability. Sam writes a completely separate paragraph about share capital. The essay is disjointed and the clock is burning. This is where I am stepping in to pause their session. Listen to the cognitive strategy to get unstuck here. You do not write isolated facts. You must link them causally. So we rewrite their flawed section right now out loud. Instead of 2 broken paragraphs, we merge them. Because the entity transitioned to a public limited company, it successfully raised the $50,000 in share capital required for expansion. However, the strategic move directly resulted in a dilution of original ownership control, a vulnerability not present in their previous partnership structure. Do you see that? That is the clear transition from a mediocre, fragmented answer to a flawless, full-mark, integrated response.
Let's really drill down into step 2 of that process for a moment, because it is where so many students slip up: data interpretation skills. When dealing with business entities, Cambridge almost always gives you a specific, detailed business scenario in the prompt. It is absolutely crucial to pull the right evidence from those stimulus materials before you write a single word. You must extract numbers from texts and tables, interpret the financial relationships, and draw evidence-based conclusions. If the stimulus explicitly states that a sole trader is struggling with raising capital and is maxed out on bank loans, your entire answer about transitioning structures must revolve around that specific liquidity data point. Never give a generic, rehearsed response to a highly specific scenario. The data is there to be used. It is your evidence.
And as you compile that evidence, do not neglect strict presentation conventions. This is the exact structural precision that our scholar Sam struggles with. You need proper headings, correct terminology, appropriate formats, and clear annotation. Remember, practical application develops professional skills. You are training to think, analyze, and present information exactly like a professional accountant. If a principal examiner has to hunt through a wall of text to find your conclusion because your formatting is chaotic and your paragraphs lack structure, you are actively throwing away presentation marks. Keep it incredibly clean, keep it highly structured, and make your logic impossible to miss.
Which perfectly leads us into Section 4, the most critical part of this masterclass: avoiding top examiner traps. We are going to move into a fully interactive visual workshop right now.
Before we test your skills, let's reveal the exact pitfalls. Here are the top 3 mistakes, pulled straight from the official principal examiner reports. Trap number 1. Answers are often way too vague. Examiners absolutely despise general textbook waffle. They demand specific, actionable details. Trap number 2. Students forget to check format and presentation, losing those easy mechanical marks. And trap number 3, the absolute biggest killer of A-star dreams: answers are not specific to the context given. Now it is time for our pause and practice immersive workshop. Scene 1, data analysis. Imagine I am putting a complex data chart on your screen detailing a private limited company's declining profit margins, alongside a text excerpt about their board of directors disagreeing. A 60-second visual countdown timer is starting in your mind right now. Your task under pressure is to synthesize that data. The trap is just reading the text and ignoring the chart. The A-star candidate instantly connects the declining margins in the chart to the managerial inefficiency mentioned in the text. Time is up. Did you make that connection? That is the level of speed and synthesis required.
Now for Scene 2 of our workshop, Spot the Flaw. I'm displaying a poorly written student answer on the board. The student wrote, "A partnership is good because they share the workload and have more capital than a sole trader. This will help the business." I want you to spot the 3 massive errors in this response based on everything we've covered. Find them right now. Okay, let's systematically dissect it. Error 1, it is completely vague. Share the workload is rote memorization. Error 2, poor terminology. Good is not an accounting term. Strategically advantageous is. Error 3, zero context. It ignores the stimulus entirely. Now let's reveal the specific contextual A-star path. The perfect answer integrates data and says, by transitioning to a partnership structure, the entity can directly utilize the $50,000 capital injection mentioned in Exhibit A to fund the proposed product line expansion while simultaneously distributing the operational management burden across 2 specialized partners. Look at the difference. We connected the exact business scenario to the exact theoretical advantage. Context is literally everything.
While we are dissecting flaws, I need to deliver a high alert warning straight from the examiners regarding terminology. Here is your unbreakable rule. Always define terms before using them in extended responses. The examiner reports explicitly state that candidates consistently confuse key terminology under pressure. You must establish precise definitions right out of the gate to anchor your causal relationships. If you are comparing a sole trader to a private limited company, do not just start arguing. Briefly define the determining characteristic of each, such as their distinct legal liability status, before you launch into your evaluation. It proves to the examiner immediately that you possess the fundamental knowledge domain before you attempt the higher order analysis.
This brings us to our final and most advanced phase, Section 5, Mastering Comparative Analysis.
This is where the magic happens, and where our scholars, Alex and Sam, finally had their personal breakthroughs during our session. Moving from descriptive to analytical, and finally to evaluative levels is how you secure that top-tier grade. The higher-order evaluation demands include the rigorous evaluation of alternatives, the comparison of approaches, and crucially, justified recommendations. Alex finally realized that you aren't just listing the pros and cons in parallel lines. You actually have to crash them into each other. And Sam finally understood the creative arguments mean nothing unless they culminate in a justified professional recommendation on which business entity is mathematically and strategically superior for the specific scenario provided.
To synthesize this entire masterclass, I am boiling everything down into 3 core, memorable pillars that map directly to the requirements shown in this table. Pillar 1 is the 3-step question scan. You must comprehensively identify similarities, differences, and the exact command words before writing. Pillar 2 is the paragraph balance formula. You must actively use comparative connectives like whereas and conversely, and support every single claim with hard data and evidence from the text to keep your paragraphs perfectly balanced between theory and application. And Pillar 3 is the last 5 minutes review checklist. This is where you secure your conclusions. In the last 5 minutes, you scan your essay and ensure you have drawn definitive judgments on the relative importance of your points. Did you explicitly state why the advantages of a PLC outweigh the disadvantages in this exact context? If you apply these 3 pillars, you are practically forcing the examiner to award you top marks.
We have completely deconstructed the examiner's lens, the cognitive domains, the step-by-step strategy, the major traps, and the comparative pillars. Now, I am leaving you with a provocative challenge. How will you actively integrate cross-topic connections and structured comparative analysis in your next practice paper? Don't just passively absorb this masterclass. Crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent, relentless strategy. As we wrap up this explainer, I am giving you explicit instructions for your next steps. Hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams, IGCSE O and A levels at the handle @AceTheExam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell right now so you are armed with our future exam hacks, and I want you to go down into the comments and declare your target grade right now. Put in writing. Thank you for stepping into the masterclass today. Keep applying these elite strategies, keep analyzing your peers, and go ace that exam.